everyone, welcome back to LifeChat with me, Karima. I am so glad you're here. So I am actually in line waiting for my kids to come out of school, but I wanted to go ahead and just share with you how I quit smoking. Um, I believe that it could be very beneficial to a lot of people out there who trying to quit smoking. I noticed, like, just Saturday we went out on a date with my husband, and there's still a lot of people that are actually smoking, and many of them are women. And so I just, I didn't know if someone out there was trying to do that, trying to quit. And I figured, you know what, why not share my story, what I did that helped me quit. So I'm gonna give you guys some tips on how to quit smoking, and I hope that you will enjoy this video. So when I was 18 years old, I lived in France at the time, and I just got a contract to come to the US. I had a friend of mine who was actually younger than me, maybe like 16 at the time, and she was smoking already. And we went to this little cafe in France, and we were having some coffee, and she started smoking, and she was like, "Hey, do you want one?" And even though I grew up around my family who smoked, my parents smoked, a lot of people, like a lot of family members and friends smoked around me when I was growing up, and it never really, I was never attracted to it. I never really wanted to smoke. I don't care about it. But for some reason, when I was 18, I don't know, it was just something like, well, you're not at the house anymore, you're moving away, why not? And so I picked it up, and it wasn't easy to quit. Let me tell you, it was a battle because I was very addicted to cigarettes. I smoked Marlboro Reds at the time. And 5 years later, when I came to the US, after I was here for a while, people were on me about quitting. They were like, "You need to quit, it's bad for you." I'm like, yeah, whatever. And so, I thought, you know what, fine, I'll try to quit, just so these people stop talking to me about it. So I heard about getting hypnotized. You can get hypnotized, and it would actually help you quit smoking. So I went spent $300 on a session, and I went in, and the guy was like, if you're not here for you because you want to quit, you're going to be wasting your money. Just go home. And I said, no, I want to quit. And in my head, I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe not. I'm not sure. But so I went in through the session, and I lay down, and he started talking to me, and before I knew it, the session was over. I got up, I took my pack of cigarettes, and I threw it in the trash like nothing happened. And I was like, wow, I can't believe this. I actually don't want to have a cigarette. And I went home, and I went on with my day, and I was amazed at the fact that I didn't want a cigarette because, like I said, I was very addicted to the cigarettes. And the next day I woke up, and it went away. Like, I woke up and I was like, I need a cigarette. I don't want one now. And so I went to the gas station and got me a pack, and I started back. So then I decided to try some pills. They had like a certain kind of pills that you can take, and what it does is it gives you this nasty taste in your mouth if you smoke a cigarette with taking them. I was on them for 2 days. They were awful. I was so drowsy and nauseated, and the cigarette did taste awful, but I was like, I can't do this. I cannot function and work like this. So I just stopped taking it. And years later, after I got married, and we were married for about 5 years, my husband and I decided to quit smoking together. And the reason I wanted to quit smoking is because I wanted to get pregnant, and I did not want to battle smoking while I was pregnant or after I had a baby. I did not want that. So I decided to, try to quit, knowing that the pills didn't work for me, and and the other stuff didn't work for me. I decided to do the patches. I had the choice, either patches or the gum, the Nicorette gum, and I decided to do the patch thing because I didn't want to be chewing gum all day. So I would put a patch on, I would go to work, and then it would hit me. I wanted the cigarette so bad, and I would take my patch off, I would go and buy a pack of cigarette, I would smoke one cigarette, and then I would throw the pack away. And then the next day, I'd be doing so good, and all of a sudden it will hit me again, and I'm like, okay, just one. I just want one puff. And I would go back to the store, buy one pack, smoke one cigarette, and throw away the box. And it became very expensive. Let me tell you, very, very expensive. But so I did that for a while, and I'm like, I have to stop. I have to stop doing this. You know, this is not working out for me. And I noticed, like, my dad, he was a smoker, and he would cough like a really strong cough to the point where he was red in the face. You know, and I just noticed, like, you know, it was very inconvenient. You know, I hated the smell, and you know, I would go take a shower and blow dry my hair and spend all this time doing my hair and smelling so good after a shower, and then I would have one puff of cigarette and I would just smell like an ashtray. And I just hated smelling like that, but I didn't know how to quit. You know, literally I was the kind of person that I thought I could not live without cigarettes. I could not get up and not have a cigarette. It's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna be able to live like that. I have to have a cigarette in order to move on with my day. And I was totally wrong, you know, I was totally wrong. But so my husband at the time listened to this guy, and his name was Tony Robbins. He is actually a motivational speaker, and we started listening to him, and he's an amazing guy. I mean, he like explains to you how your brain works. And you know, I always thought that cigarettes relaxed me, and that's the reason why I smoked. And he, you know, explained it in a way where it was like, okay, you try to inhale and exhale and see the difference between that and smoking a cigarette. Well, guess what? If you take your fingers like this and you pretend you're smoking, and just inhale with me, just inhale and exhale, you get the same exact feeling as when you're smoking. Same exact one, okay? So the cigarette, and actually the cigarette makes you feel worse after. And when I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, here I am spending all my money, you know, being unhealthy. I mean, I used to work out and I would smoke before I went into the gym, and I would come back out and the first thing I did was light up another cigarette. How stupid is that, you know? So anyway, but I finally like realized I cannot believe that I was doing this to myself. And so I decided to do certain things to quit. So number one thing that I want to share with you is you must want to quit. You shouldn't be quitting for your husband or your children or whoever. You need to quit because you want to quit. Because the thing is, if you don't do it for yourself and you don't really want to quit, it's not going to work. You're going to go right back to it, because I've done it many times, believe me. I quit, I went back, quit, went back. So don't do that, okay? So the first thing you want to do is when you want to make sure you're quitting for you, okay, for your health. Number two, what I did is I wrote down everything, the good about smoking, the bad about smoking. And let me tell you, the good was very little and the bad was a lot, okay? The good was the 5 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever minutes, you know, you're smoking a cigarette, you're getting that, you know, that high, whatever, where you're smoking a cigarette. And the next, you know, on the list is all bad. It's you know, you smell bad, it's inconvenient, it's unhealthy, it's super expensive, it's not a good example, you know, for my children. I didn't want my kids to pick that up. And so, you know, it was just, you know, one thing after another. When I was looking at this list, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is bad for me. And I started, like, all these things started coming to mind, like the way my dad coughed, and you know, and knowing people had cancer from smoking and things like that. And I just didn't want that for me, for myself, you know. And the third thing that I did was, you need to reward yourself. So when you're not smoking, okay, that money that when I wouldn't buy a pack, I would take that money, and I had my list, and then I had like a little jar, and I would put my money in there. And what I did is every week I would take that money and go buy me something nice, you know, or I would do something fun with the money that I was going to spend on smoking. I was rewarding myself, you know, I was doing something for me, you know, because the thing is when you're smoking, you're seeking pleasure. You're seeking the pleasure of smoking. Even though it's bad for you, you're still seeking it. So you need to seek pleasure somewhere else. And you need to make the smoking painful and the other thing that you're doing pleasurable. So what I was trying to do is put in negative thoughts on what I was doing as far as smoking, and making, you know, me saving money, me being healthy, and all those things more pleasurable, more good for me. And so that's number 3. Number 4 is, you know, when you're trying to quit smoking, it only takes about 3 days for the nicotine to come out of your body. but it takes a long time to beat the habit of constantly coming in, with your fingers, and smoking that cigarette. You have to break that habit. So what I did was get lollipops. They have a stick, and that kind of reminded me of having a cigarette in my hand. And I would just grab one, and I would just keep it in my hand, and whatever. But I used that to help me break the habit. Okay, even though the nicotine was out of my body, I still was looking for that cigarette. And so these 4 things is what helped me quit. And another thing that you can also do is make a goal for yourself. Like, okay, I'm gonna give myself $300, if I quit smoking or whatever. My husband actually was like, because I had such a hard time quitting. I mean, I was in tears sometimes because I had such a hard time. And he quit a little easier than I did. And he's like, I'm going to challenge you. I will give you $500 if you quit smoking. So that really pumped me up. I'm like, oh yeah, I can go shopping. Yes. So I did. And he gave me the 500, and I went shopping. And I bought me a bunch of nice stuff. But the number fifth thing you want to do is get rid of everything in your house that reminds you of smoking. Ashtrays, lighters, whatever it is. Okay, whatever it is, change, wash all your stuff. You will be surprised once you quit smoking at the smell in your closet. Like, I couldn't believe it. The smell in my car, the smell in my garage, because I smoked there. I mean, it was just crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So, but those are the things you want to do, and in order to quit smoking. And you can do it. I promise you can. It's been over, my son is 14 years. It's been about 15 years now since I quit, and I am so glad that I am not smoking anymore. I don't miss it a bit. I don't want it. I want to have nothing to do with it. And I'm just grateful. And also a lot of prayers. The Lord really helped me quit smoking as well. Just knowing and understanding how my brain worked and what I was doing to my body, and doing something about it and having a plan, and then also praying to the Lord for help. And he helped me. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful to you. If you have any questions, or if you quit smoking and you've done different things that I did, share those in the comments below. You may be helping someone out there that's really struggling to quit. So please, just share whatever down in the comments below. And I thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Blessings to all, and much love.